The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, or the Old Sailor. First, the mariner stops a wedding guest and spellbinds him so that he can tell his story, his long story that the wedding guest does not want to listen to. In the first part of his story, his ship sails to the equator after leaving the home harbor with the church and the lighthouse and the hill. Once they reach the equator, a storm strikes and sends the ship south until it becomes stuck in ice, totally icebound. An albatross appears and a south wind pushes the ship north. The mariner, impulsively, for no reason at all, kills the bird with his crossbow. At first, the crew is angry, but then the fog clears and they decide the mariner has done a good thing. They sail north, but the winds die down at the equator. They suffer from thirst, even though water surrounds them. Slimy creatures skitter across the surface of the water. Light shines upon the mast and water at night. The mariner's shipmates blame him for their suffering and hang the albatross's corpse around his neck. A spirit is following the ship 9 fathoms down beneath the sea's surface. The mariner then sees a ship in the distance. A sail, he cries, and they all rejoice with hope for rescue, then grow wary when they wonder how the ship can move without wind. This is not a friendly ninja. This is the Grim Reaper with his friend Life and Death, who play a game of dice for the crew, and she wins their lives. The sun sets and the ship sails away. The crew of 200 drops dead, and their souls fly into the sky. At this point, the wedding guest is pretty paranoid and worries that he is speaking with a ghost, but the mariner assures him, no, I'm alive. All alone on the ship, the mariner can neither pray nor die. He can only stare at his dead crewmates for 7 days and 7 nights. Eventually, he looks overboard at the water snakes in the moonlight and decides they are lovely creatures. Suddenly, he is able to pray, and the albatross falls from his neck. In the morning, rainfall is striking his face. His thirst is a problem solved. The wind picks up, and the dead crew, reanimated by a troop of blessed spirits, rises and navigates the ship. They dance and sing around the mast from dawn until noon, when the ship is moved from, that should be beneath, the water until a sudden halt at the equator. Abruptly, the ship starts again and then halts. The jolt of starting and stopping causes the mariner to fall down and sleep, while 2 voices speak of his crime and his punishment. The ship brings him swiftly back to the harbor where he departed from. The spirits leave the dead crew's bodies, leaving them standing motionless. A boat comes toward the ship. A pilot, his boy, and a hermit are on board. The mariner sees the hermit as a holy man and hopes the hermit will accept his confession. As the boat approaches, a rumble is heard. The ship splits and sinks. The mariner floats until rescued by the pilot and hermit. Well, kind of floats. His hair does, anyway. The pilot's boy thinks the mariner might be the devil. Once upon land, the mariner is overcome by a fit which compels him to tell his tale. Ever since, he's had to travel the land telling his tale whenever a certain feeling overcomes him. The mariner tells the wedding guest to love all things, both great and small. Having heard the story, the wedding guest becomes wiser and sadder.